so much for joining me, especially if you're a complete beginner to yoga. I'm Amy and I'm going to be teaching you today the basics, so yoga poses that you'll probably find in most of your yoga classes, and also how to flow as well through your Namaste A's and B's. Don't worry if you've never heard of those things before, I'll literally explain everything as we go. So I just thought I'd kind of introduce you first of all to what yoga is all about. So yoga is beneficial for your body, your mind and the breath. So it really does help the whole body, and it helps calm the mind, and it helps us use our respiratory system much better with the ability to calm ourselves with the use of the breath. We use the breath quite a lot in yoga to help us flow. So what I will say about the breath is anything with an upward direction, so when we move our arms like this, is normally on an inhale, and on everything using your exhale will be drawing down towards your mat, towards the ground. So on an inhale we take a deep breath in, anything lifting up towards the ceiling in an upward direction is on an in-breath, and on your exhale you'll be going downwards towards your mat. That's just how yoga works. Yoga is all about unity, creating that togetherness, whether it's through ourselves, through others, and through everything. So we believe that everything is one, there's no division, it's all creating that same environment, it's we're all the living things that are together in this present moment. So creating that unity, as I touched on before, through ourselves is where we can really begin. So yoga connects the body, the mind and the breath, and they're the three things in your physical practice, which is also called your asanas, which will also help you to guide yourself through this tutorial of how to do yoga. So your asanas, which I just touched on there, is a Sanskrit word. So Sanskrit is the language of yoga. It derives from many ancient texts from India. And as you probably know, yoga touches on Buddhism and Hinduism too. So of course there's lots of more spiritual sides of yoga that you can kind of look into. I'm here today to teach you about your asanas, your physical practice. Back in the day and still now, many monks and many places in India and more Asian countries will just practice yoga in this form here, seated, in our meditation seat. So there's no physical poses, and there actually was never any movement on your mat or on the ground wherever you practiced. It was literally in a seated position. When yoga came over to the Western world, to England and all over to Europe as well, they introduced more of a physical asana practice to allow us to be able to achieve those same feelings of what you get when you have that meditation. And anything that you're trying to achieve in yoga is called the samadhi. So that's that point of meditation where you're completely free, you're completely almost feel like you're, I guess you're like asleep but awake. It's that kind of midpoint that you're not really sure what's going on. And that's what we want to achieve, that stillness through the body. Even if we're flowing, that feeling of complete concentration and that complete bliss. So samadhi is bliss. So it's complete and utter bliss. It's that top level, and lots of people try to achieve it through your yoga practice. So if you're not here today to achieve that, then no worries at all. We will just be coming through those poses, as I've said, to really help you get a full understanding and help you have the confidence to then go on to your yoga classes and know what's going on. So there's going to be about 80 poses in the yoga sequence that you go through, and there's lots of variations as well in those poses. Don't worry, we're not going to come through all 80 poses today. We are just going to be focusing on those ones that lots of teachers and lots of classes have in them. So let's get started. So we're going to actually come into standing to begin with, and we're going to come into our standing position, which seems a bit strange, but actually we stand normally in a very bad postural position. So what I want you to do is come onto your mat. You can be anywhere on your mat as long as you can see me. And I just want you to come and stand about hip distance, feet at hip distance apart. I want you to really start to claw now down into your mat or into the ground below, and really just try to get a grip of your mat and underneath you. That's going to really activate through those feet and keep those feet really stable. Some of us have quite flat feet, which means you turn inwards. So you want to create a really strong arch of the foot by really gripping and creating that strength through the feet. So feet are at hip distance apart in our Tadasana, mountains pose. Tadasana is the Sanskrit, mountains pose is the translation, standing. You want to try and lift your kneecaps here to really engage through your legs. So you want really strong grounded legs. You want to squeeze through the bottom and your hips drive forward underneath the body. So I'll show you that from the side so you can really see. This is me standing normally, kind of not really engaging anything. Then when I squeeze and I lift the kneecaps and squeeze the bottom and draw your hips under, you can see I'm in a really lovely flat, straight position. Everything is switched on, my core, my glutes, and through my legs. So this is that lower body activation that you want here in standing. Who knew standing was so hard? Then your arms, as you can see, I'm turning my hands facing them forward. This is because we encourage external rotation. So we spend a lot of our days typing, texting, driving. Everything is rounding, encouraging that internal. And that's why you find a lot of people, maybe yourselves included, have that rounding sensation through your back. What we really want to encourage is a heart opening and drawing external rotation, so the hands facing out, and something simple as that can really help our posture. So if you ever find that you've got a spare moment or you're standing with your kind of like hand on your hip, just try to remember to stand up nice and tall, palms of the hands face forward. Slight squeeze of your shoulder blades, and that's going to really open your chest there. Try not though to squeeze the shoulder blades together and this happen, your ribs pop out. Really try and keep that flat back so everything is engaged through your midsection. Then lastly, just bringing awareness to your chin. Once again, if you were typing here, you find a lot of this. So we're rounding and your chin protrudes forward. So what we want to do in our Tadasana while we're on the mat in our mountains pose is try to draw your chin all the way back. So almost like giving yourself a double chin, lengthening through the back of the neck. So we're here. And then palms of the hands facing open. And we're in a lot better position in there than we are here. So I hope you can see the difference and feel it too. So this is your Tadasana, mountains pose. So you'll find that at a lot of the beginning of flows in yoga, you'll come into that position, into your Tadasana. And also sometimes yoga teachers will tell you to close your eyes here, and maybe there might feel a slight sway. So maybe give that a go, noticing how that feels to stand with the eyes closed, which we don't often normally do. Thinking about grounding through the feet, lifting through the kneecaps, squeezing through the bottom, lifting through the belly. Drawing your shoulder blades together, not too much, palms of the hands forward. And then lastly, almost give yourself a double chin, lengthening through the back of the neck. Tadasana, mountains pose. Take a lovely deep full breath in here. And out. Nice. That's your first pose done. So I'm going to take you through now your Sun Salutations. So that Namaste A that I was talking about earlier, Namaskara, you might also hear. Sun Salutation A and also your Namaskara are the same thing. This will never really change, so whatever class you go to, how I'm teaching it to you will be quite similar. Sometimes people add just like a little bit of a difference in, but the main structure remains the same. So if you get this in the bud, if you kind of get this really strong, you'll know where to flow when your yoga teacher prompts you. So we'll come to the top of our mats in that Tadasana position here. And I want you on it, all I want you to do is take a deep full breath in, sweep those arms out and reach up towards the ceiling here. So your hands are coming together. Now here, just notice there if you're sticking the bottom out and flaring through the ribs. I want you to draw back to center, so like what we were doing in our Tadasana mountains pose. So you're squeezing through the bottom and reaching those arms above the head. Lovely. From this position, squeezing through the bottom, lifting through the belly. On your exhale, you draw your hands through your heart space. You tip forward from your hips and lower all the way down through your forward fold. So in your forward fold here, if your hamstrings, the backs of the legs feel quite tight, I want you to take a bend through your knees. Your hands hang nice and heavy. If your fingers come into the mat, then great. If they don't come to the mat and you're more in this position here, I want you to try here and stick the bottom out behind you, and that's going to give you a little bit more space then to fold forwards. Even if you're here with the hands lifted off of your mat, really try and suck the belly in, stick the bottom out behind you, then fold down. So don't worry too much if your hands aren't on the mat, I'm just showing you here. I want you to draw your weight into the toes for me. I want you to suck the belly in to find a little bit more space there to fold forward. And your head is lovely and heavy. Maybe give it a nice little shake from side to side. So we come from our Tadasana mountains pose, reaching the arms above the head, and then exhaling into this position into your forward fold. From here, we come up into a halfway lift. So your hands come to your shins, you're squeezing the shoulder blades together here, and so you can really see myself here in this position. Again, your weight is in the toes for me, and squeeze through the bottom, lifting through the belly. Breathe here. So here, your weight is in the toes, you're squeezing through the bottom, you're sucking the belly in, and the main thing here is you're drawing your shoulder blades away from the ears. You're in a real nice flat back. You're looking down towards your mat. You see a lot of people looking up, and this here is obviously shortening the neck, so you want to look down towards your mat. Take a lovely deep full breath in, and on your exhale, fold completely forward, back into your forward fold. We're actually then going to just come all the way back up to standing and just come through that positioning once again, just to make sure we're really understanding that. So taking a deep breath in, reaching those arms above the head, squeeze through the bottom, lift through the belly, arms above the head. On your exhale, draw your hands through your heart space, tip from your hips as you lower all the way down through that forward fold. Head is heavy, belly sucked in. Weight into the toes. Suck the belly in, squeeze the bottom. Your hands come to your shins, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Look forward, but keep the back of the neck lengthened. On your exhale, soften and release your hands to your forward fold. Really nice. Now from here, bend into the knees as much as you need to take your hands onto the mat. Suck the belly in, big long step back with your right foot first. So you can really see how long I'm taking it there. Push the mat away, then step back with your left foot so you're in your plank position. If you need to release the knees for a moment, just to explain there how real and powerful that plank is. So pushing the mat away, your hands underneath the shoulders, and if you bring your awareness to your shoulder blades want to be peeling apart from each other rather than softening together. Kick back through your heels. So then taking a lovely deep full breath in, on your exhale, release the knees down to your mat, untuck your toes. Now this bit's called a Vinyasa. So on your exhale, elbows in towards the body, you're going to lower your chest and your bottom together down towards your mat. So that's that first point of call. So we're going to come back up into your plank so you can feel that again. So pushing the mat away in your plank position, squeezing through the bottom. Take a deep full breath in. On your exhale, release the knees, untuck your toes. Your heart space, so your chest comes forward and down. Try to bring it down with the bottom too. Things you want to try and avoid is this. So you're bringing your bottom down, then your chest. You're not going to engage anywhere there through your whole body. So if you find that quite tricky, take it nice and slow. And in yoga, we use a lot of the triceps, the backs of the arms here, rather than biceps. So when you're lowering down, instead of like taking like a push-up where your elbows out to the side, your elbows actually draw inwards towards the body. Suck the belly in, squeeze through the bottom, then lower down towards your mat. Now really just practice that. A lot of yoga is in the upper body, so we use a lot of triceps and we use a lot of shoulders as well. So this will really build upper body strength. Awesome. So from plank, when from here, releasing the knees, untucking the toes, softening your chest forward and down. Just make sure when you come to this position here that your hands are underneath your shoulders. So if you need to take a bit of adjustment here, then please do. Your elbows stay locked in towards your body. We're going to lift up now into a cobra. So you're going to point your toes, squeeze through the bottom, push those hands into the mat and draw your shoulder blades down and away from your ears. Then slowly you're going to lift up all the way up into your cobra. Really important here that we don't fling the head back. That's going to cause a lot of strain through the neck. And you're trying not to be in this position. So if I show you that from the front, you don't want to be here, you want to be there. So you want to push here. You don't want to be here with the hands on the mat. You want to be pushing the mat away so your shoulders are away from your ears. So that's again going to cause a lot of strength there as you lift up through your cobra. You can see the difference here when I lift up, or to when I lift up and I'm here, creating that strength. On your exhale, lower the whole way back down. From this position, elbows in, you're going to lift up. And again, when you lift up and lower down, you want to try and draw your bottom and your chest off of the mat together, rather than this action, all right? So it does take a little bit of time. And then once you come up, you come into your tabletop position. So hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. You're going to tuck your toes from here, push the mat away, lift up into your first down facing dog. So you've obviously heard of down facing dog probably. So you're going to push your hands down into your mat. You're going to suck the belly in and stick the bottom up and out behind you. If those hamstrings, the backs of the legs are super tight, take a soft bend through the knees. Don't worry that your heels, if they don't come down to your mat, they might never come down to the mat, that's okay. Really focus here on staying active. So press down through the fingers, the thumbs, the palms of the hands, push the mat away so you're active through those shoulders. Your head here is nice and heavy, maybe give it a shake from side to side. You're sucking in through the belly and squeezing through the bottom. Then you're going to lift those kneecaps like you do in your standing position to engage the whole of the legs and soften your heels towards the mat. So down facing dog is supposed to be quite a restorative pose, but there is a lot going on. Take a lovely deep full breath here and out. From here, you're going to bend through the knees and you're going to take a big step forward with your right foot between the hands. So then you're going to take a step forward with the left foot and lower down through your forward fold. Hands come to shins, lift up again through your halfway lift, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And on your exhale, fold and release. Sweep those arms nice and high. Hands can come through heart space as you reach all the way up. And on your exhale, draw your hands back through heart space. So if you find that part tricky from your down facing dog and then stepping through, try this. So as you lift your right leg, I want you to come up onto your left tiptoes, lifting the bottom high. And I want you to push the mat away. That's going to give you more space to come forward. Rather than coming to there, then using your hand to come through. Which of course is fine, but you want to use more of your core. So to do that, lift up onto your tiptoes. Push the mat away. then step it through. Same as well with that left foot, lowering down, forward fold. So hopefully that really helps. So we're going to take a full sun salutation, this time through your left side, and we're going to come through that nice and slow. So anything you do on your right side, which you always take first in yoga, you then do it on the left side as well. So coming to the top of your mat, squeezing through the bottom, palms of the hands face forwards. Take a lovely deep full breath in, reach the arms above the head, squeezing through the bottom. On your exhale, hands come through heart space. Like a hinge, tip forward, lower all the way down towards your mat. Head is heavy, sucking the belly in. On your inhale, I want you to come up halfway. Hands come to your shins, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Away from the ears, squeeze the bottom too. Take a deep full breath in. Exhale, folding and releasing through your forward fold. Pushing the mat away. We're going to step back with the left foot first. Push the mat away, step back with your right foot so you're in your plank position once again. Take a deep full breath here. On your exhale, release the knees, untuck your toes. Soften the chest and the bottom at the same time if you can down to your mat, hands underneath the shoulders. Elbows draw inwards, squeezing the shoulder blades, down the back away from your ears. Push the mat away. On an inhale, lift up through your Cobra. Look forward, squeeze the bottom, point the toes. Deep full breath in. Exhale, you soften. Push up through that tabletop, lifting the body off of the mat. Tuck your toes, lifting back into your down facing dog. Take a deep full breath here, feet about hip distance apart. Take a soft bend through those knees if you need to. From here, bend through the knees, look to the top of your mat. We take a step forward through your left foot first. This time, then step forward with your right foot and lower down through your forward fold. Come up into a halfway lift. Hands to shins, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Look forward and down, squeeze the bottom. On your exhale, fold and release forward. Hands come through heart space or sweep them out to the side as you reach all the way up. And on your exhale, drawing your hands through heart space, Tadasana. So that's your Sun Salutation A. And then we have another one called Sun Salutation B, so your Namaskara or your Namaskara B. So this one we're going to come through together, and this time we add a little chair pose in, and we also add what we call a warrior one. So again, I'm going to explain everything to you so it's nice and clear. So you actually add on to that first vinyasa that we've just done, that first flow. So we just add on to it. So it's really good if you understand that first flow that we just did, then you add on, and lots of flows, especially if you do your vinyasa yoga. So your vinyasa yoga is when you flow with the breath and then you draw down. You're going to use a lot of sun salutations. The sun salutations will warm your body, so they'll get you nice and warm, and they use lots of the parts of the body as well. So normally you do them at the beginning of your practice to really heat the body and get everything going, ready for the rest of your practice. So from here, come to the top of your mat once again. So this time we come into what we call a chair pose. So on your inhale, sweep those arms nice and high, and I want you to sit down nice and low through an imaginary chair. So I'm going to come this way so you can kind of see where I'm going. So you're drawing your weight into your heels, lifting those tiptoes off of the mat if you can. Squeezing through the bottom, lifting your heart space so you're looking forward. So your weight is in your heels, sitting down low, bending through those knees, and you're opening your heart space. So this isn't an easy pose. So from that position, you're going to take a deep full breath in. On your exhale, you're going to fold and release, folding forward, weight into the toes. Come up halfway, hands come to your shins, squeeze the shoulder blades together like we did earlier, squeeze the bottom. Exhale, soften and release those hands. You're going to step back with your right foot, then you're going to step back with your left foot, so you're in your plank position. We take that flow, release the knees, untuck the toes, soften your chest forward and down, hands underneath your shoulders. Lift it up through a cobra, push the mat away with your hands, shoulder blades down the back. Squeezing through the bottom, point those toes. Take a deep full breath in. On your exhale, release the whole way down. Push the mat away. You're going to lift up through a tabletop position. You're going to tuck your toes, lift it up through a down facing dog. Push the mat away with your hands, stick the bottom up and out, up towards your ceiling and softening the heels towards your mat. This time you're going to shift the weight into your left leg, draw your right leg up towards the ceiling. So from this position here, I'm keeping my hips closed. So my right hip stays in line with the left. I'm squeezing through my bottom and lifting my right heel up nice and high. Slowly, I'm going to come forward on my left toes, step forward between your hands. So remember, lift up onto your tiptoes, lift the bottom high, then step through. Right foot between your hands. We come through what we call a warrior one. So your left toes come out nice and wide. You can take them as wide as your mat. Bend through your right knee. Suck the belly in. On your inhale, I want you to sweep through those arms as you lift up through your warrior one. So in my warrior one, I have a bend through my right knee, and my right knee is stacking over the ankle. Really important you have that to stabilize through the knee. My left toes can be out nice and wide, and I'm pushing the outer edge of my left foot down into the mat, so I'm not lifting off. My hips here are trying to come forward, so they're not opening out. My hips in my warrior one are coming forward. So I'm drawing my right hip back and my left hip forward. On my inhale, you sweep your arms nice and high. Palms of the hands here face each other. I'm looking forward. Take a lovely deep full breath in. Exhale, bend through your knee a little bit more. Just notice if there's any more space there, but press out into that left foot at the same time. Take a deep full breath in. And exhale, release your hands down to your mat. You're going to come back through your plank position, pushing the mat away. We take a vinyasa, release the knees, untuck the toes. Soften your chest forward and down along with the bottom. Draw your shoulder blades together. Point the toes, lift up through your cobra. Exhale, soften and release back down to your mat. Lift it up, tuck your toes, down facing dog. And then of course we come through that on the left side. So shift the weight there into your right leg, lift the left leg nice and high. Three-legged dog, so it's the same position as your down facing dog, you're just lifting the left leg off of the mat. Try to soften your right heel to your mat as much as you can, suck the belly in, squeeze the bottom. Take a deep breath in, come up onto your right tiptoes, bend through that left knee, lift up nice and high, bottom high, step it through between the hands. Warrior one, so right toes come to 45 degrees. You can take your toes as wide as your mat here, your heels do not have to be in line. On your inhale, suck the belly in, sweep those arms up as you come up into that warrior one. So this time my right outer edge of my foot that's at 45 degrees is pressing down and out to the outer edge of my mat. My bending through that left knee means my hips can come forward. This time my left hip is tracking back, my right hip forward, but be careful the outer edge of your right foot doesn't lift off of the mat. You're going to suck the belly in, squeeze through the bottom, and on your inhale, reach those arms lovely and high for me. Really nice. Take a deep full breath in. Exhale, bend through your left knee even more. Take another deep full breath in. On your exhale, release your hands, push the mat away. You step back through a plank position, and we take another vinyasa. So squeeze the bottom, release your knees on an exhale, release the toes. Exhale, soften down towards your mat. Draw your shoulder blades together, squeeze the bottom, lift up through your Cobra. On your exhale, slowly release down. Push up through that tabletop in your own time. Tuck your toes, lifting up, finding your down facing dog. Then we start to come towards the top of our mat. So we bend through the knees, look to the top of your mat like a big springboard. Step either one of the feet forward first, then the other one meets and lower down through your forward fold. Come up halfway, hands to shins, squeeze the shoulder blades together, squeeze through the bottom. On your exhale, fold and release forward. We come back up into that chair pose, bend through the knees, weight into your heels here, sweep those arms nice and high as you come through that chair. Lifting through the belly, squeezing through the bottom. Take a deep, full breath in and out. Hands come to heart space, squeeze through the bottom, your hips drive forward, Tadasana. So you can really feel there that real heart space and your real energy is starting to lift. So we're going to come through one more of those each so you can really feel into those poses. I want to make sure you have a really good understanding. So in our full position through our Namaste A, so that first flow that we did, coming to the top of your mat. Tadasana, palms of the hands forward, squeeze through the bottom, your hips drive forward. Inhale, reach those arms nice and high, deep, full breath in. Exhale, tip from your hips, folding down on your exhale. On your inhale, come up halfway, hands come to your shins, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, soften and release, your hands come to the mat. Step back with your right foot first. Step back with the left foot. You're in your plank. Push the mat away. Your shoulder blades are apart. Take a deep, full breath in. On your exhale, release the knees. Untuck the toes. Soften the chest forward and down towards your mat. Shoulder blades squeeze together. Elbows in. Lift it through a Cobra. Shoulders away from the ears. Squeeze through the bottom. Exhale, soften all the way to the mat. Lift up through that tabletop position. Tuck your toes up and back into your down facing dog. Here, you're going to shift the weight into both of those feet there. So really shift the weight back like a springboard. Look forward. You're going to step forward with the right foot or left foot first. Then take the other foot and lower down through your forward fold, weight into toes. Come up halfway, hands to shins, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, soften and release, forward fold. Inhale, sweep those arms lovely and high, hands come together, squeeze the bottom.